It doesn't matter from wherever you're born, which caste you belong in, or what's your skin color. In the end, you're a beautiful swan, hatched from a swan's egg. For the Dalits, the parable of the ugly duckling and its mocking siblings has special meaning. We must ponder how many swans squander their lives, believing they are the caste system's ugly ducklings, confined and punished. Here, the ugly duckling story is of the matchless, unparalleled, but exotic story of disregarding society and having faith in each other's soul to walk on the footsteps of proving differences wrong. Let us have your eyes and ears on an untouchable story of a man who cycled from India to Sweden for love. Being distinct adds to the genuine beauty of the world in which we live. Never attempt to be someone that you're not. Instead, celebrate your uniqueness, and love will find a way to hold you. Untouchable. Most people assume that something like Mahatma Gandhi, modernization, or progressive legislation has either resolved or barely registered this long-standing Indian issue. Although there has been some progress, over 10,000 violent attacks on untouchables have occurred annually over the past few years, according to official statistics. Human rights advocates in India claim that the majority of instances go unreported. Only the most obvious manifestation of repression is violence. The situation is summed up in the following description of Gujarat state, the setting of Mahatma Gandhi's early works, which is becoming more and more typical throughout most of India. By 100 BC, untouchability as a religiously sanctioned practice associated with some hereditary Indian castes was well entrenched. Hindu religious writings used the concepts of karma and rebirth to justify untouchability. One was born into an untouchable caste as a result of the accumulation of grievous misdeeds committed in past lives. The story turn takes a step with a street performer from the lowest caste in India who takes center stage in the narrative. She requested to have her portrait taken while on vacation in New Delhi. She was a wealthy Swedish woman from a noble family. A quick 3-week relationship followed, during which she traveled to his hometown in eastern India, got to know his family, and made love to him. But her vacation has soon ended, and she had to go back to Sweden to enroll in a music college and pursue a career as a teacher. After being apart for more than a year, he continued to think about her non-stop. He could not, however, afford a plane ticket. He downsized his belongings, got a red bike, and headed off on the Hippie Trail, a 6,400-kilometer trek that began in New Delhi and went through Afghanistan, Iran, Turkey, Austria, Germany, and Denmark before ending in Sweden. In January 1977, he left India with only $104 in his pocket. On May 28, 1977, he finally made it to Sweden, where his soulmate was waiting for him. They've been together ever since their reunion 40 years ago. They have 2 youngsters, and they are ecstatically content. For PK and Lada, the journey has not been simple. PK's appropriateness as a partner was questioned by her family, and once he moved to Sweden, he had trouble assimilating. He made linguistic errors and unlocked the paddock gates to let the cows out, like they do in his native country. Due to the hated caste system, he frequently found himself the target of insults. Later, he enrolled in the College of Art in New Delhi in 1971, and quickly became well known for his portraiture. The entire tale is much more unbelievable than the synopsis provided above. It includes a prediction made to PK's parents when he was just a baby, according to which PK would fall in love, rather than be forced into an artificial union, with a woman from a distant place who was born under the sign of Taurus, owned a jungle or a forest, and played the flute. All of these criteria applied to Charlotte, also known as Lada. She was Swedish, a Taurus, and as part of their illustrious ownership documents, her family owned one of Sweden's most legendary forests. She was also a gifted musician who taught the flute. When PK learned all of this, he told her right away that he was going to marry her. She laughed, but she kept coming back to have her portrait painted. As the stars had planned, she was possessed by his pure simplicity, while he was by her beauty during the painting process. There was now love. Charlotte adopted the Indian name Charulata, and the couple got married according to custom. Charlotte requested her husband to accompany her when it was time to depart. But PK was still a student and wanted to finish his coursework. He rejected when she later offered to send him air tickets, claiming he would travel to meet her on his own. The newlyweds did not see each other for 1.5 years after Charlotte left. On January 22, 1977, he set off for India via the Hippie Route, with $80 in his pocket, a used Raleigh bicycle, and a few paintbrushes. The globe was very different in the 1970s, and he could enter most nations without a visa. He took other forms of transportation as well, including rides on trucks and invitations to stay with strangers in exchange for sketching. He received letters from Charlotte along the way. In the endless road he chose, he made hippie friends who fed him and showed him the way. When a friend he aided mailed him a train ticket to Vienna, his journey was hastened. It was a time of immense emotion when PK and Charlotte finally met after 4 months of a demanding voyage that took them through 8 different countries. PK had made the promise out of the goodness of his heart, but he was confronted by the fact that he lacked the resources to carry it out. However, he was not a quitter. He liquidated all of his possessions and purchased a used bicycle. He did the unthinkable, carrying all of his paints and brushes with him. He arrived in Gothenburg, Sweden, after a back-breaking 4 months and 3 weeks of travel. Back then, not many nations required a visa in order to travel. When he finally arrived, he was interrogated by Swedish immigration officials, who were shocked to discover an Indian man traveling by bicycle. PK explained the purpose of his visit and showed them pictures of his marriage to Charlotte. Authorities were shocked and didn't think that a person of European royal lineage would wed a destitute Indian. Even PK was uncertain about if his lady love would accept him after the shocking disclosure. Charlotte drove to Gothenburg to see her spouse after hearing about the Indian man who had cycled across the country for almost 5 months. By defying a royal custom that forbade non-white people from dwelling with the aristocracy, her parents allowed Pradyumna to become a member of their family. Dr. PK Mahanandia, who has been married for 40 years, currently resides in Sweden with his wife Charlotte and their 2 daughters, while also serving as the Odia Cultural Ambassador of India to Sweden. When he visits his town, which formerly scorned him as an untouchable, they greet him with a rousing welcome. Pradyumna is a well-known artist in Sweden and serves as the Swedish government's advisor for art and culture. The Swedish government has produced videos to mark their union and to capture this century's most enduring love. His artwork has been displayed in significant locations throughout the globe and is included in the distinguished UNICEF greeting cards. He received a degree of honoris causa on January 4, 2012, from Utkal University of Culture, UUC, in Bhubaneswar, Odisha State, India. The government of Odisha appointed him as the Odia Cultural Ambassador to Sweden. Not only that, they started a scholarship program for kids in PK's village and have since devoted a significant amount of their time to community service initiatives. Emil and Carl Siddhartha, also known as Kid Sid, are currently ages 31 and 29 respectively. It is crucial to convey to everyone that their children are acutely aware of their spiritual connection. Despite how much we humans divide one another, we all come from the same source. The extent one would go to for love is something our generation could benefit greatly from learning a thing or two about. Today, relationships are frivolous. People assume love is a right swipe away. Yes, modern technology is great, but in the end, there's just something about an old-school love story that makes one wistful. That is all in the history of love for today, folks. Hope you like this video. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to get yourself notified for more amazing videos. Until then, adios.